I'm going to focus on the next two competencies of emotional intelligence in this video: self-regulation and self-humbling. Self-regulation simply means that we need to regulate ourselves when we are feeling emotional. And I'd like you to ponder a quote from Dr. Daniel Goleman, who's one of the thought leaders of emotional intelligence. Dr. Goleman writes, "Our emotions are always with us. Sometimes we're not with our emotions." I've asked clients what that means to them, and some of the responses I have gotten: gee, we're always feeling something, except we try to push the emotions down. Gee, we do feel, except we don't want to feel the emotions. And while these answers are correct, the way I interpret it is, very simply, I am always feeling something. I don't want to let my emotions drive my judgment. So when I'm feeling emotional, one thing that you might want to consider doing is using the acronym called PRD. PRD simply means when I'm emotional, rather than firing off a response and saying something that I'm going to regret, I can use PRD. I can pause, I can reflect, and then I can decide what to do. Once I've done that, when I've paused and then I've reflected some of the options available, I can respond on the spot, absolutely, if it's necessary. How does it help to have paused and reflected first? Based on brain physiology, we as human beings feel before we think. So if I can pause and reflect for about 4, 5, even 6 seconds, it allows me to think a little bit and use some logic before I just respond emotionally. Another option is very simply, I can pause and reflect, and perhaps I can postpone the meeting or postpone the conversation. Gee, seems to be getting a little bit heated. This seems to be getting emotional. Can we talk about this in a half an hour? How would it benefit you, the manager leader, to pause for a half an hour? My thinking on this is it allows you to calm down. And how about your colleague? How does it help the individual? It allows them time to prepare for the meeting itself, and hopefully they won't be as emotional either. The last competency I'd like to talk about in this video is called humbling yourself. And very simply, what we mean by that is, when you're wrong, apologize. When we make a mistake, admit it. I was wrong. I apologize, boss. I shouldn't have said that. Equally as important, and maybe even more importantly, is going to your colleagues or a colleague. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that to you. I made a mistake, whatever it might be. How do you think it impacts relationships when you have enough humility to go to people and say, I was wrong. I don't know everything. In my experience, it makes a tremendous difference. So I invite you to continue to watch. The next videos will continue to focus on emotional intelligence from an empathy perspective and becoming more interdependent.